what if I told you that the man currently sitting in the most powerful seat on earth, the President of the United States, carrying the nuclear codes and steering the future of the free world, has a past so dark, so disturbing, that it was intentionally buried for decades? What if behind the confident speeches, massive rallies, and presidential decisions lies a history built on silence, manipulation, and secrets no one was ever supposed to uncover? This is not just another look at Donald Trump. This is the side of him he never wanted you to know. Because before the global spotlight, before Air Force One, and before he became the leader of the nation, there was a very different Trump. One who made deals in shadows, turned allies into enemies, and built a legacy on truths too dangerous to tell. But some stories don't stay buried forever. And now, as he governs the country once again, the past is clawing its way back with questions, with evidence, with whispers too loud to ignore. In the next 30 minutes, we're going far beyond the press conferences and headlines. From hidden scandals to secret connections, this is the untold truth behind the man who leads the world. And by the time this is over, you may start to wonder, who is the real Donald Trump? Behind every powerful man, there are doors he never once opened. And for Donald Trump, some of those doors led to the most exclusive, secretive, and controversial circles in America. In the 1980s and 90s, while he was rising through New York's elite scene, Trump wasn't just attending glamorous parties, he was hosting them. High-rise apartments turned into private gatherings. Celebrities, models, foreign investors, political figures, they all came. But what happened in those rooms never made the headlines. There were rumors of underage girls, of entertainment that was never meant to be seen, and of guests with names too powerful to mention. Some say Trump was just the host. Others say he was something more. And then came the connection that would haunt his name forever: Jeffrey Epstein, a man known not just for his wealth, but for what he did with it. Flight logs, private islands, photographs that disappeared. Trump once called Epstein a terrific guy. Later, he said he barely knew him. But the truth is harder to scrub, because what began as friendship quickly became a liability. And as Epstein's empire crumbled under the weight of his crimes, more eyes turned toward those who once stood beside him, including a man who now sits in the White House. If there's one thing Donald Trump has always been surrounded by, it's women, models, beauty queens, socialites, and for decades, he made sure the cameras saw exactly what he wanted them to see: the charm, the romance, the wealth. But away from the red carpets and magazine covers, there were stories, and some were never meant to be told. His first marriage to Ivana ended in public scandal, with whispers of abuse, betrayal, and a bitter divorce settlement that came with a silence clause. Then came Marla Maples, the woman he once called his soulmate, only to abandon her when the spotlight faded. And then Melania, the mystery, the quiet elegance, and the look in her eyes that said more than she ever spoke aloud. Long before congressional hearings and special counsel headlines, Donald Trump mastered a different kind of controversy, one built on feuds, flamboyance, and a knack for turning minor dramas into front-page spectacles. In the mid-2000s, he waged an on-air war with television host Rosie O'Donnell, trading barbs that spanned morning shows and late-night monologues. Years later, he sparred with actor Robert De Niro, whose fiery award show tirade met an equally fiery Trump tweet storm. Even sporting arenas were not immune. Trump's 2017 clash with the NFL over players kneeling during the anthem became a weeks-long media saga, complete with hashtag battles and locker room sound-offs. Inside the White House, the theatrics continued. Staffers whispered about the infamous Diet Coke button, said to summon a chilled can at a tap. Foreign leaders reportedly eyed it with curiosity while cameras rolled. At G7 and NATO photo ops, Trump's forceful handshakes, Macron's white-knuckled grip, Abe's extended clasp sparked gif-laden breakdowns on Twitter. Then came the Kofef night, a 6-letter mystery tweet that trended worldwide before vanishing, leaving late-night hosts and linguists alike guessing at its meaning. Personal relationships offered their own tabloids. Reports of sibling rivalries between Donald Jr. and Ivanka over campaign influence. Anecdotes about Trump's preference for McDonald's filet-o-fish on late flights. And the oft-repeated story that he once ordered well-done steak drenched in ketchup at a Michelin-starred restaurant. None of these moments involved courtrooms or billion-dollar fines, yet each flashed across screens, sparked memes, and reminded the world that for Donald Trump, even the smallest spark can set off a media wildfire. Long before politics, Donald Trump understood that sparring with bold-faced names kept him in headlines. His on-camera 2007 clash with WWF owner Vince McMahon ended with Trump dumping fake money over the crowd and shaving McMahon's head at WrestleMania, a stunt replayed on ESPN highlight reels for years. A decade later, pop icon Cher ignited a Twitter storm by calling Trump a pompous showman with spray-tan dreams, to which he replied that her concerts were dying like a dog. Tickets actually sold out the next day, boosting both brands. In 2013, he labeled comedian Bill Maher's orangutan joke disgusting, sued Maher for $5 million in a publicity gambit, then withdrew the suit after saturating news cycles. Even Martha Stewart felt the heat when Trump claimed her spin-off, The Apprentice Martha Stewart, failed because she wasn't tough enough, prompting Stewart's handwritten letter, telling him to enjoy your ratings dip. NBC executives quietly admitted the feud doubled both shows' online views. Each showdown followed the same playbook, a biting remark, an escalatory counterpunch, and days of free airtime that turned minor ratings fights into pop culture milestones without a single courtroom in sight. Trump's relationship with television hosts is a highlight reel of headline-ready jabs. He called Jon Stewart overrated, then booked himself on rival shows, prompting Stewart to rename him F. President Catnip because every mention spiked Comedy Central ratings. Jimmy Fallon's playful 2016 hair tousle drew backlash. So, Fallon apologized on air, after which Trump tweeted, "Be a man," sparking think pieces about masculinity in modern comedy. Stephen Colbert answered by erecting a 10-foot Trump-o-meter that lit up each time the president tweeted, a gag that tripled Colbert's YouTube views in a week. Even behind the anchor desk drama brewed when Fox News moderator Megyn Kelly questioned his remarks about women during a 2015 debate, Trump retorted with a cryptic "blood coming out of her wherever," leading to a temporary boycott of the network. Fox ratings surged anyway. Kelly scored a primetime special, and the catchphrase "wherever" trended above Oscars. Critics dubbed it the first viral ellipsis. None of these clashes involved legal threats or policy disputes, yet each shaped late-night monologues, produced memeable catchphrases, and solidified Trump's role as both nemesis and muse for American satire. Twitter became Trump's digital megaphone long before X rebrand. Between 2012 and 2020, he averaged more than a dozen tweets a day, once live tweeting the Emmy Awards to complain, "The Apprentice should have won," and accidentally spawning the fan tag, "Emmys so rigged." During a 2019 blizzard, he asked, "What happened to global warming?" generating 300 replies and a NASA infographic response traffic crashed the agency blog. Insiders recall he scheduled tweets during executive time while enjoying 2 Big Macs, 2 Filet-O-Fish, a chocolate shake, and extra fries, an order immortalized by former campaign manager Corey Lewandowski. The mysterious midnight tweet, Kofefe, gathered 128 retweets before deletion, inspiring novelty mugs, Pokemon edits, and a mock bill in Congress to preserve presidential tweets for posterity. TikTok teens later co-opted Kofefe as a dance challenge, proving even typos can drive an algorithm. His Instagram featured fast food spreads. At Clemson Tigers White House, visit burgers stacked on silver platters, became an instant meme and boosted McDonald's social engagement by double digits. According to Brandwatch, none of these moments required fact-check banners or policy flags, but they illustrate how a single snack order or typo can hijack the global feed for 24 hours. Long before the campaign trail, Donald Trump built a resume as Hollywood's go-to symbol of gilded New York. His 8-second "Right This Way" Sir cameo in Home Alone 2 was shot in the Plaza Hotel lobby he then owned, and director Chris Columbus later said the appearance became a mandatory condition for filming there. Trump's brief walk-on in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had him asking for a larger ballroom, while Will Smith mugged the camera, a clip that resurfaced on TikTok in 2024 and topped 50 million views. He popped up in The Little Rascals as Rich Kid Waldo's father, delivering the meta line, "You're the best son money can buy," which meme accounts repackaged during Father's Day promos. A one-liner in Sex and the City Season 2 saw Samantha brag that even Donald Trump wants my rooftop, turning the episode into a trivia night staple. Cameos in Zoolander and 2 Weeks' Notice rounded out the list. But after entering politics, most studios quietly trimmed re-releases to avoid partisan backlash. Yet each cameo, no matter how fleeting, keeps circulating in Guess the Celebrity compilations, proving that a single frame can outlive entire box office runs when the face is instantly recognizable. Few leaders turned a simple handshake into headline art the way Donald Trump did. At the 2017 G7, he clasped Emmanuel Macron's hand for 6 full seconds, leaving white knuckles that photographers zoomed into front-page shots. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe later laughed that the 19-second Oval Office shake left his palm tingling, a moment replayed on NHK with slow-motion graphics. Canada's Justin Trudeau countered by pre-positioning his left hand on Trump's shoulder, an image body language experts called the Canadian seatbelt during news panel debates. In Brussels, the same year, cameras caught Trump briefly guiding Montenegro's Milo Đukanović aside to reach the front row, sparking etiquette discussions from CNN to Der Spiegel. Even Britain's Queen Elizabeth encountered the trademark grip, though palace aides reminded press that protocol technically forbids pumping the monarch's hand. The footage still fed 24-hour loops. On social media, each handshake morphed into GIF metaphors for negotiation styles, turning micro-gestures into diplomatic talking points without a single policy paper in sight. Beyond boardrooms and rallies, Trump's personal style fed 1,000 meme cycles. His preference for extra-long ties, reported at 58 inches, sealed with clear tape on the back, sparked the 2019 Tie Challenge, where users wore neckties to their knees. A windy day at Joint Base Andrews flipped his hair and birthed 8-second slow-mo clips dubbed Toupee Nado that racked up 20 million Vine loops in a weekend. In October, 2018 cameras captured a length of white tissue briefly stuck to his shoe while he boarded Air Force One, generating Photoshop parodies featuring red carpets of toilet paper stretching down runways. The fast open umbrella incident, when he left a golf umbrella at the top of the plane stairs, triggered etiquette columns on presidential travel. Even food photos became fashion commentary. A red necktie draped into a soup bowl at a private club dinner went viral under the caption, "Executive Dip." None of these snapshots involved policy or accusations, yet each flashed across late-night monologues and reminded viewers that in the smartphone era, a gust of wind or stray napkin can dominate the news cycle as effectively as any press conference. In September 2019, a routine hurricane briefing morphed into meme history when Donald Trump displayed a forecast map of Hurricane Dorian, altered with a hand-drawn black Sharpie loop extending the storm track into Alabama, contradicting the National Weather Service. Sharpiegate trended for a week. Late-night hosts staged marker-based parodies, and Sharpie's sales reportedly spiked 9% on Amazon. 2 years earlier, the first major optics clash of his presidency exploded over crowd-sized press photos showed sparse National Mall sections for his January 2017 inauguration, while Trump insisted it was the largest audience ever to witness an inauguration, prompting side-by-side image wars on cable news. The day after, his press secretary Sean Spicer doubled down, birthing the phrase "alternative facts," when advisor Kellyanne Conway defended the statement on NBC. Neither incident involved lawsuits or fines, yet both became textbook cases in media management classes on how a single image or marker stroke can override policy talk for days. On 7 October 2016, The Washington Post released a 2005 Access Hollywood hot mic recording in which Trump boasted to host Billy Bush about celebrity privilege. Within an hour, nearly every major network cut regular programming, replaying the audio, while Trump's campaign rushed a 90-second apology video, calling the remarks "locker room banter." GOP leaders split. Some withdrew endorsements. Others stayed silent. But Google searches for the tape peaked higher than any policy topic that year. Late-night monologues stretched into special Saturday editions, while Saturday Night Live debuted Alec Baldwin's now famous impression the very next night, drawing its highest premiere ratings in 8 years. Despite predictions of electoral collapse, Trump returned to the debate stage 48 hours later, flanked by Bill Clinton accusers in a calculated optics countermove that dominated headlines through Election Day. The episode never led to legal action, yet remains one of the most replayed campaign scandals of the social media era. Thanksgiving week 2022 lit up feeds when Donald Trump hosted rapper Ye, formerly Kanye West, and internet provocateur Nick Fuentes at Mar-a-Lago. Ye had just lost major brand deals over anti-Semitic comments, while Fuentes was known for white nationalist rhetoric. Word of the dinner spread after Ye posted a campaign teaser claiming he asked Trump to be his running mate. Aides confirmed no staff list vetting occurred, and within 24 hours, Republican senators from Mitch McConnell to Mitt Romney publicly rebuked the meeting. Trump issued 3 Truth Social posts stating he didn't know Fuentes and that Ye expressed no anti-Semitic remarks at dinner. Late-night shows stitched montage jokes of place card mix-ups, and Politico tallied 147 primetime minutes of cable discussion over 5 nights. The episode faded without hearings or lawsuits, but strategists still cite it as proof that even a private guest list can spark a week-long narrative firestorm in modern politics. The 2016 Democratic National Convention delivered an unexpectedly defining moment when Khizr Khan, a Pakistani-American attorney whose son Army Captain Humayun Khan was killed by a car bomb in Iraq, held up a pocket constitution on stage and asked Donald Trump whether he had ever read it. Standing beside him, wife Ghazala remained silent, later saying her grief still overwhelmed her. Within 48 hours, Trump responded on ABC, suggesting Mrs. Khan wasn't allowed to speak, a remark interpreted by many as a slight against Muslim culture. Gold Star organizations issued statements defending the Khans. The veterans of foreign wars called Trump's words out of bounds, while Senator John McCain released a written rebuke, invoking the sacrifice of true patriots. Social media metrics from CrowdTangle showed Khizr Khan peaking at 90 million impressions in 2 days, surpassing both party platform hashtags. Late-night hosts devoted full monologues, and sales of pocket constitutions on Amazon skyrocketed to the site's top 10 list. Trump later tweeted that Captain Khan was a hero, but doubled down on criticizing the DNC for using a grieving family as political pawns. Rolling coverage lasted a week, culminating in a joint op-ed by 15 Gold Star parents urging all candidates to honor silence of sacrifice. There were no legal filings, no fines, yet the episode is still studied in crisis communication courses as a lesson on how 10 televised minutes of raw grief can dominate an entire election news cycle. When the Trump-Ivana split burst onto New York tabloids in late 1990, it blended soap opera glamour with real estate intrigue. Page 6 tracked their separate ski vacations. Friends close to the family leaked settlement numbers, 14 million cash, a Connecticut mansion, and seasonal rights to live at Mar-a-Lago, while Vanity Fair ran a photo spread of Ivana sailing off Palm Beach in neon windbreakers. By spring 1992, Ivana flipped the script, hosting a charity girls' night out at Mar-a-Lago for 400 Palm Beach socialites who arrived in pastel gowns to silent auction diamond tennis bracelets in the same ballroom where she once threw a New Year's Eve bash. With Donald, tabloids framed the soiree as a victory lap, Ivana greeting guests under crystal chandeliers, joking the only construction noise she heard now was from the sound system and lifestyle anchors, contrasted her champagne tower with Donald's simultaneous ribbon cutting at Atlantic City's Taj Mahal poker room. No lawsuits, no criminal allegations, yet every glossy fashion insert showed her new pixie haircut and speculated which European count might become the next Mr. Ivana, proving that even a charitable ladies' night inside a Gilded Age estate can dominate entertainment pages for a month. The Marla Maples chapter began as a whisper on Aspen slopes and detonated on 7 February 1990, when New York Post splashed her, quote, "best sex I've ever had," across page 1 in 72-point type. Overnight souvenir shops printed teas, while Times Square rumor mills claimed Trump considered renting a digital billboard to loop the headline beside the Coca-Cola sign. His team denied it, but the urban legend stuck. By December 1993, he proposed on a midnight walk along Fifth Avenue, slipping her a 7.5-carat Harry Winston emerald-cut diamond, said to cost $250. Bridal magazines traced every facet, noting the ring traveled in a Secret Service-style velvet pouch. The couple's Plaza Hotel reception, 4 months later, featured a 15-foot vanilla sponge cake studded with marzipan-gilded teas. Yet tabloids fixated on who paid for what. Whispers said the hotel comped much of the feast for marketing value, an arrangement both parties shrugged off as good business. Maples's line later inspired cocktail menus, best SIEH margaritas at downtown lounges, and resurfaced in 2019 when the Post reprinted the cover for its 100th front page. No defamation suits, no legal quarrels, just a headline that outlived the marriage and became shorthand in pop culture for love meets marketing spectacle. Long before Pennsylvania Avenue, Donald Trump was king of catwalks as owner of Miss Universe. Contestants recall that at the 2013 Moscow pageant, he swept into Crocus City Hall, flanked by Russian pop star Emin and reality cameras, insisting the red carpet be extra fire engine red. Backstage rumors claimed he reordered the show flow so the swimsuit walk aligned with prime time in New York. When Miss Azerbaijan's gown split minutes before stage call, Trump reportedly quipped, "That's ratings gold," and directed staff to keep cameras rolling. Paula Shugart, the pageant's longtime president, later said his single brief note during dress rehearsal was more crown sparkle. Tabloids fixated on whether he would announce season 7 of The Apprentice live on stage. He didn't. But the speculation alone doubled international media credentials. After Gabriela Isler of Venezuela claimed the crown, Trump congratulated her in Spanish on Twitter, misspelling felicitaciones, spawning the meme, "Felicitaciones, Señor Donald." No scoring controversies, no litigation. Yet the Moscow edition is still cited by pageant aficionados as the most talked about Miss Universe of the decade. Inside the Oval Office sat a small rectangular box that aides dubbed the Diet Coke button. Press photographers first spotted it in early 2017, and reporters soon learned a uniformed valet would appear with a silver tray and chilled can whenever Trump tapped it. Late-night hosts imagined rival presidents with espresso buttons, and Twitter users posted DIY schematics for emergency latte launchers. Airborne dining rituals were equally meme-ready journalists. On campaign charters snapped photos of Trump balancing KFC family buckets on briefing folders, eating with a fork to avoid grease on tie silk. In May 2017, Time magazine revealed the 2-scoop rule. At dessert, staff served the president 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream, while guests received 1. The detail ignited 2 scoops #wars, prompting Ben Jerry's to tweet they would gladly supply as many scoops as any citizen wants. January 2019's fast food feast for the victorious Clemson Tigers, Big Macs, Filet-O-Fish, Wendy's salads stacked on White House silver sparked think pieces on Americana cuisine and drove a 12% spike in Uber Eats orders from D.C. zip codes that night. None of these quirks broke protocol or law, yet each proved a snack tray can eclipse a policy rollout in the social media age. Minutes after his June 2015 escalator speech, Donald Trump's remarks on immigration triggered corporate recoil. First came Univision, canceling Miss Universe broadcast rights, prompting Trump to tweet a photo of himself eating a taco bowl captioned, "I love Hispanics." Macy's followed, dropping his signature menswear line of paisley ties and wool suits. Trump fired back, calling the retailer disloyal, urging supporters to boycott, and predicting the chain would crumble like a Swiss cheese sandwich. While Wall Street shrugged, PR analysts noted Macy's online search traffic jumped 20% the following week. NASCAR relocated its year-end awards from the Trump National Doral Resort, and the PGA moved the 2017 World Golf Championship from Doral to Mexico City. Sports writers dubbed the decision the drive to altitude. Each departure sparked dueling statements, but no court filings. By year-end, Forbes tallied 16 companies distancing themselves. Yet, Google Trends showed search interest in Trump ties and cologne success, topping men's accessory queries every holiday season through 2019. Marketing professors now teach the sequence as a case study in polarization branding, where losing shelf space can paradoxically inflate name recognition. Before a single vote was cast, Donald Trump turned a hotel atrium into a stage when he rode the golden escalator at Trump Tower in June 2015, waving to smartphone crowds as a hired playlist thumped and hand-lettered signs bobbed on the balcony. The slow glide downward, equal parts soap opera reveal and shopping mall spectacle, instantly became stock footage for every later story. A looping shorthand for a campaign that treated optics as message. Fans spliced the descent to sitcom themes, critics cut it to horror scores, and within days the escalator shot joined cinema's most recognizable walk-ins. Proof that in a culture addicted to replay, a single, precisely framed entrance can write the first line of a political narrative. Long before podiums and motorcades, Trump rehearsed power on primetime television, shaping the Apprentice into a weekly ritual where aerials of Manhattan bled into marble boardrooms and a single catchphrase, "You're fired," punched through living rooms like a gavel. Celebrities, CEOs, and wannabe rainmakers lined up for the format's clean drama: task, pitch, verdict, and the elevator door that shut like a period. Brand placement doubled as character development. Charity checks became finales, and Trump's executive persona, pointing pen, steepled fingers, long tie, slid from entertainment into everyday shorthand for authority. When later rallies echoed the show's cadence, open, challenge, verdict, the audience already knew the beats, proof that 12 seasons of reality TV can pre-score a soundtrack for real-world politics without a single bill signed. In February 2020, the fusion of politics and spectacle hit top speed at the Daytona 500, when Air Force One skimmed low over the speedway before the green flag and the presidential limo nicknamed the Beast rolled onto the track. For a slow ceremonial lap ahead of stock cars, grandstands filmed on phones as loudspeakers boomed a welcome. Commentators framed it like halftime at a title game, and NASCAR fans posted split-screen edits pairing the flyover with in-car audio. No endorsements were announced, no policy unveiled, just a tableau of chrome, jet engines, and an arena that speaks fluent pageantry. A reminder that sometimes the most effective message is the image itself, throttled up and broadcast in 1080p. During a 2017 visit with Japan's Shinzo Abe, a brief balcony moment at a koi pond became a global meme when cameras caught Trump tipping an entire wooden box of fish food at once. Initial clips framed it as a breach of etiquette, but wider footage showed Abe doing the same seconds earlier, turning the flap into a miniature lesson in context. In the age of looped snippets, the first angle to trend writes the caption, and by the time the fuller cut arrives, the joke has already lapped the planet. No harm done, just well-fed koi. And a reminder for editors that timing can be as decisive as content. Two of Trump's most replayed photo ops required no speech. On the 2017 solar eclipse, he briefly looked skyward from the White House balcony without protective glasses, prompting 1,000 caption contests. And that spring, he climbed into a parked semi-truck on the South Lawn, gripping the wheel and blasting the horn while camera shutters machine-gunned. Both images traveled faster than any policy PDF, one framed as a dad at a barbecue impulse, the other as a kid in an arcade grin. And together, they showed how unscripted gestures can outtrend scripted lines, turning everyday props like a steering wheel or a sliver of sun into viral punctuation marks. Some of Donald Trump's most viral moments weren't speeches or rallies, but offhand phrases that the internet adopted and remixed. In July 2020, he described acing a cognitive test on Fox News, carefully enunciating person, woman, man, camera, TV, and within hours, musicians had turned the cadence into synth-pop hooks, TikTok loops, and classroom rhythm games, while late-night editors timed jump cuts to each noun like a metronome. A year earlier, a celebratory tweet about the White House fast food spread misspelled hamburgers as hamburgers, and the typo instantly leapt to coffee mugs, parody menus, and a pop-up diner sign. Neither line changed policy or triggered fact-check banners, yet both proved how a slip of the tongue or keyboard can outpace any press release, becoming the headline audiences remember long after the cameras cut. From red carpet feuds to midnight tweets, one truth remains. Each new headline sparks debate faster than the last. And as the cycle spins, we're left asking not what Donald Trump will do next, but how we'll react when he does.